last year against Steve Rogers, and it's what Frank Robinson looked at before doing his lineups today. I'm Ralph Nelson, statistician of the Giants, and here's today's starting lineups. Bill North will lead off and play center field. North hit .273 against Rogers last year. Enos Cabell with the Houston Astros last year hit .286 against Rogers. He will bat second and play first base today. Jack Clark will hit third for the Giants and play right field. Jack was our best hitter. He was 5 for 15 with a double, triple, and a home run last year. Darrell Evans will hit fourth. He'll play third base. The fifth place hitter will be Jerry Martin, who's not normally in left field but is today because of Larry Herndon. Herndon was 1 for 15 against Rogers last year with 4 strikeouts. Joe Morgan will hit sixth and play second base. Morgan hit .500 against Rogers last year. Milt May will catch. May was 1 for 9 against Rogers. Johnny LeMaster will bat eighth, and he will be at shortstop. He was also 1 for 9 against Rogers. And Vida Blue will bat ninth and pitch for San Francisco.
All right, Ralph, we thank you very much. Now, the defensive alignment for the Montreal Expos. Raines in left field, Dawson in center, White is in right, Wallach at third base, Spire at short, Scott at second, Cromartie at first, behind the plate, Gary Carter, and on the mound, Steve Rogers.
Yeah, Steve Rogers on the mound. He's a sinker ball pitcher, and he must keep the ball low in order to be effective. Last time out against the Dodgers, he was very effective. He was getting his curveball over, and he has a tendency to throw that curveball and it hangs on you. And when it does, you see a lot of home runs hit. And if he keeps it down in a strike zone, then he's twice as effective, and he'll last for 9 innings instead of the usual 5 or 6. But the thing about him is he's a sinker ball pitcher, and like all things that sink, they get wet once in a while.
Oh, come on now. I didn't know that. All right, 31-year-old Steve Rogers is all warmed up and ready to go for the Expos, who are in a virtual tie for first place in the Eastern Division with the St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies. And Gary Carter greets Bill North, who will lead off for the Giants, the switch hitter, hitting a .229 coming into this ball game. Last night, just to prove that Tim Raines wasn't the only guy who could steal bases, North got aboard and stole second and third in that order and in a hurry. Here he is, Billy North. Ball one, and we're underway. As Ralph Nelson told us, Billy North hit .273 against Rogers last year, and that's why he's in the lineup. I think that's quite interesting that manager Frank Robinson of the Giants is going to a computer printout this year and is going to stick with it, he tells us. 1-1 to North.
Yeah, he's got to be smarter than the average manager, because I looked the thing over and I can't make heads or tails of it. The 8 million numbers, and I'm looking at it right now. That
Wait a minute.
There's too many numbers.
It says 5 pounds of sugar, 2 dozen eggs.
No, wrong list. Sorry.
No wonder. Now get the right one out. 2-1 to Billy North. Just underway in Montreal. A beautiful afternoon for baseball here at Olympic Stadium. A gorgeous plant. This thing is huge. And of course, it was a site of the 1976 Olympics. Foul in the play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Giants have won 13 and lost 16. 7 games behind the Dodgers in the Western Division. Nice big look at Big Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and you'll notice the shadow out across the plate already, halfway to the mound. It's tough on the hitters. The best day for a hitter here is an overcast day. This crowd is going to number around 40,000 at least, it would appear. Off speed, fouled it away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Billy North has done some traveling in his major league career. He'll be 31 years old next week. Signed as a free agent for the Giants in 1979. Started his career with the Cubs and went to Oakland, Los Angeles, and finally San Francisco. Breaking ball inside. Full count to Billy North. You know, Ron, Timmy Raines is going to be leading off from Montreal in the bottom of the first inning. But this man right here, Billy North, can be just as dangerous. You walk him, it's like a double.
Yeah, he's always been tough, but Billy's very temperamental. He might run today, and he might not feel like running today.
I got to feel he feels like running.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't like that rookie. Look at it. Rogers is really disgusted. And everybody's saying, don't walk him, don't walk him. And he says, I know it. I didn't last time I faced the Dodgers, but this time I'm in trouble.
Enos Cabell is next for the Giants. Hit .286 on the computer printout against Steve Rogers last year, and he is hitting in the number 2 spot of the lineup. Cabell came over from the Houston Astros. Astros MVP in 78. Last year led the Astros in RBI, or in 79 he did, led them in RBI, 67. Came to the Giants for Bob Knepper. At first, Billy North. Low and inside.
Billy's just fooling around at first. He hasn't got that real big lead. You'll watch, if Billy gets a big lead there, he'll have that right foot of his completely on the artificial turf. And the last time, he just had a little portion of it. He'll move off and a little bit more, and as Rogers gets set, he'll move off more and more. And when he gets serious, he'll put that right foot of his way on the artificial turf. See, now he's not serious now. He's not going.
Gary Carter with that cannon is behind the plate, but North gave him a bad time last night. Giants winning the ball game 4-3. North scoring. Foul at a play as Cabell tried to hit behind him into right field.
Yeah, hit and run. That was not a steal. That was not a steal. And look at Billy. You can tell he's not really into the game yet. I mean, it's a little early for him. Maybe he was out late last night. Oh, watch this swing. Now you can tell that is a hit and run swing. That's all it is. He's trying to get the bat on the ball and put it behind the runner. He's trying to place it. Sort of a cue, had a cue in his hand and tried to hit the cue ball into right field.
Cabell, good bat, has had some difficulty in the field over the years. North out on the carpet. Draws the attention of Steve Rogers. We're just underway in Montreal. Billy is back. First base umpire Paul Runge in the background has to have a keen eye right now.
They all have keen eyes, not just now.
How about the one in the booth?
The only one that didn't have eyes. Rogers is holding him on a lot better than Gullickson did last night in a close one. Billy wants to talk that one over. Gullickson didn't hold him on for Carter last night to defend Gary. And Rogers is doing a good job here. Here's a very good move by him. Billy was not that far off, but he's letting him know. Good move. Might have been illegal, but very good.
A ball and a strike. There he goes. Cabell fouls it away. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Billy's going to stay there. He didn't want to go back.
Billy said, I'm going to steal it anyway. Why don't you let me stay here?
Billy's like a fine-tuned motor. He's getting warmed up now. You know, it's nice, crisp weather, not warm, not cold, but he's getting warmed up. And he's eking out a little further each time onto that carpet.
Speaking of getting warmed up, if Raines gets aboard in the first inning, he'll warm up this whole place. They really go wild when he is on. 1-2 pitch. Off speed. So Cabell is gone via the strikeout, and 1 out. That'll bring up Clark.
I said if Steve Rogers can get that curveball over, it's going to be a tough day. And right here you see, he throws him the hook, breaks down in the strike zone, and Enos swings over the top of it.
So Cabell is through for his first plate appearance, and Big Jack Clark out of New Brighton, Pennsylvania, now makes his home in San Francisco, of course. 25 years old, is up there. A real power plant. Ball 1. Last season, Clark hit 22 homers, knocked in 82 runs, hitting .284, but you got to remember he was out a month. He got a hit on the hand by Mark Bombach, who's in with the Mets. North at first, 1 out. Giants have in the first inning. Upstairs, 2-0. You know, Steve Rogers, veteran as he is so aware of that base runner at first. This is where that base runner can help the hitter, because he is taking part of that concentration away from Steve Rogers. He's occupying a bit of the mind right now.
And if you'll watch North, he started out with a foot just half and half on the carpet, and now his whole right foot is on the carpet. So he's getting a little more daring, and he's getting a little further off. There it is. He's further off more. He's more and more. There he goes.
And it's popped out of play.
And that was straight steal. And Billy, look it, Billy's mad now. he thought he had the thing stolen. He had a good jump. He was out there on the carpet where he wanted to be. If Clark wasn't 9'12", he would have yelled at him.
Billy's getting his running in, that's for sure. You know, you'd consider the importance of Jack Clark to the Giant Ball Club. You know, they were only 6.5 games back when he was injured last year on August 20th. Then he was out a month. And this guy is so important to this club. North going. Carter's throw. Got it. So Gary Carter, who has a cannon behind the plate, as we mentioned, shoots down Billy North.
It's just a super play by Carter. Grabs it, comes up, no time at all, and a beautiful throw. I could even caught that at second base. Billy did not have a chance. Look at that. The ball's waiting there for him. Rodney made sure he touched him. Good all-around effort defensively.
3-1 to Clark, now 3-2. Gary Carter has thrown out about 50% of the base runners this year who have tried to run on that arm of his.
40% is considered good, so he's way above average.
Right up the middle and into center, and a base hit for Jack Clark. Now, if North makes it to second, the Giants have a run. But instead, they have Clark as a base runner at first, and 2 down. You talk about strong. Watch,
yeah, right here.
Watch this.
This is just muscle. He didn't need the bat here. He could have used his arm and hit it. Ugh. That's power. That is power. Only hitting 194. You know that that man is going to hit higher than that and get a lot of home runs and a lot of RBIs.
How about 294? That's something. No, 194 now, but I say you say he's going to hit higher, and he will. About 294. You figure, well, that's a Jack Clark here. Maybe
yes.
even over 300. Carter blocks that ball. Where is it? There it is. At first base, Jack Clark.
What do they tell young catchers, basically? Stay in front of the ball. If you can't catch it, put your body in front of it. Look at him put his body in front of it. Sacrifice the body. Throw the mask off. Get after the ball. That's why when you shake hands with a catcher, you grab a hold of a piece of meat. 6 broken knuckles. He's got bumps all over his chest from being hit.
I think that ball may have come up and whacked him in a mask.
Can't hurt him. Man of steel.
Darrell Evans, third baseman, 8-game hitting streak. Rodney Scott on the short play, and the Giants are done in the first. So a bit of a threat, but no more. A base hit and a runner left. And the Giants have finished the top of the first in Montreal. They did not score. Timmy Ray.
In the top of the first, Bruce Berenier pitching to Cesar Cedeno with Terry Poole on third base.
At second base, Andre Dawson in center field. Gary Carter hitting fourth will catch. Warren Cromartie at first base. Tim Wallach at third. Jerry White in right field. Chris Spire at shortstop. Steve Rogers will pitch and bat ninth. Now the defensive alignment. It'll be Martin in left, North in center, Clark in right. On the infield, third to first, Evans, LeMaster, Morgan, and Cabell, and May behind the plate. And Vida Blue on the mound for the Giants. Many years with Oakland. It's been a big winner in both leagues, and Timmy Raines, who leads the National League in hitting at .372 and has stolen 26 bases this year in 24 games. He's been picked off once and caught once, so he's 26 for 28, to be technical about it. Last night, stole 4 bases and turned this crowd upside down.
Yeah, I hate that rule that a pickoff counts as a missed steal. I think they should change that. He should be 26 out of 27 instead of 26 out of 28.
Ball 1, high and away from Vida Blue. With Raines coming up, even in the first inning, he puts pressure on everybody on the infield. They've got to play close at the corners and up at short and second. It's 2-0.
And Vida's up those old tricks. Vida's a power pitcher, and he tries to throw the ball by you. And he gets in trouble because he gets behind the pitchers. Then he has to take a little, he gets behind the batter, and when he gets behind the batter, he takes a little off. And when he takes a little off, he throws it down the middle, and right there he did it. Except Tim didn't go after it.
2 balls and a strike. Vida Blue from Mansfield, Louisiana, against Timmy Raines, the minor league player of the year last year at Denver. Base hit to third, and Raines is on.
We're off and
Now comes the pressure on the pitcher. Will Raines be stealing? Steve Boros to the picture, the first base coach and expert, talked about what to look for on the pitcher for Raines to steal.
Times Dick Williams has given them green light. Right or left-handed pitcher, doesn't matter, and whether they pitch out or not, he's going to be running at all times, right or left-handed. In the case of Vida Blue, he'll be running whenever he gets an opportunity to key on Vida Blue's turn of his head.
All right, let's look for the turn of the head.
Right. What happens is if Vida holds true, I can remember in the American League, as an umpire, you try to pick up little things on pitchers. And what we picked up on Vida, if he looks at home plate, he's going to throw to first. If he looks at first, he's going to throw home. And right there you saw it. He looked at first and he threw home. If he hasn't changed, watch his head and you'll know what to do. If he looks at you, take off. And if he looks home, stay there.
Milt May calling for the heat. There he goes. Fastball. Safe at second. Milt May, you saw him signal for the fastball. He got the fastball. A good pitch to throw off up for a catcher, and Raines still beat it.
No contest. The man is unreal. It's unlimited how many can do it. Watch Vida's head. He looked at first, just like we said, and Scott, good maneuverability to make Milt May a little hesitant on there, and it was no contest. It was a good throw, not as perfect as Gary's, a little up. It was still good enough to get an average runner, but not even close for Tim Raines.
Steve Boros clocks. He's got a stopwatch in his right hand. He will clock the pitcher and the catcher. Now, he's already clocked Vida Blue. He knows how long it takes for Blue's pitch to come to the plate. They've got this whole thing figured out scientifically.
He's put it down in black and white. He says it takes for the pitcher to throw to the catcher about 1.4 seconds or 1.5. And it takes the catcher just about 2 seconds to throw 2 seconds. So that together, it's about 3.5. And Raines does it in 3.2. He said, so you should never be thrown out. And look at Timmy. He believes it. Dumb.
3 balls and a strike. Charlie Metro, the Dodgers scout who is here, says there is no way that a pitcher or catcher is going to be able to hold this guy on. I mean, to keep him from stealing. He's going to, he's just going to drive everybody crazy. Now he can steal third. Also, 3-1. Away from May, Raines goes on to third, Rodney Scott to first, and now the Giants have a double problem.
And look at Scott! Look at Scott! Heads up ball!
There it is, going on to second.
What a heads up play by Rodney Scott. He saw Milt May worried about Raines and just watching Raines. He goes after the ball and Rodney never stopped. He touched first and on his way to second. Brennan standing up. Unreal. Good heads up play.
So that's the kind of thing that the opposition's going to have to contend with. Not just Raines getting aboard, but if both of them get aboard, Raines and Scott, look out.
Now they're pinned in, though. Second and third, they can't go until somebody hits the ball. Maybe. Raines, the only base he hasn't stolen this year is home. They said he stole one on an infield hit. It was a ground ball to third. The third baseman nonchalantly picked it up through to first, and he'd stole it. He'd already been there before the ball got there. This ball's out of play to the right. So he stole first, he stole second, he stole third. Maybe today home.
Andre Dawson, 308 hitter a year ago. He only stole 34 bases last year.
The whole club runs. It's an exciting team to watch. All around. And not just runners. They're hitters, too.
Fastball riding away, the natural riding away from the right-handed batter. There he is, Timmy Raines at third, Rodney Scott at second. Andre Dawson, he got hit in the nose by Rick Sutcliffe last Monday night. Continued to play, and he's still in the lineup. Fouled it out of play. Sutcliffe nailed him on a pitch right in the nose, and after they stopped the bleeding, all Dawson did was stay in the game. Came up with a double, made a great catch in the outfield.
And you told me he stole second, too, right after, hit by a pitch. So he went to first, he stole second. So the whole theory is don't hit him with a pitch. He gets a little mad. Well, that was Frank Robinson, the other manager's forte, too. Don't ever throw a pitch close to him because the next pitch was out of the park.
Good heat by Vida Blues. He blows it by Andre Dawson for the first out. So, walk and a strikeout recorded here in the first inning.
And here's a power pitch of Vida. He just threw it on his wrist, right inside. He couldn't handle it. Just threw the ball. That's a power pitch right there. Threw the ball by him.
27-year-old Gary Carter from Culver City, California. Now makes his home here in Quebec. Had a super year a year ago, played in 154 games. He's very, very durable. Down at third, Timmy Raines. At second, Rodney Scott. Carter a chance to pick up a couple of RBIs. Low and away by Vida Blue. Raines, all eyes are on this man when he's in the ball game. Last night they gave him a standing ovation when he stole second and third. Into the dirt. Nice pickup by May. And did you see him take a glance to see where Timmy Raines was? 2 balls, no strikes, no score. Raines is only 21 years old. Gary Carter, a fixture here over the years, and he's had some good ones, but he could conceivably go the free agent route next year. 2-0. Ball 3.
Canada's got enough money. They're going to hold on to him for a while. I really don't believe he's going to be on the free agent market at all. It's not going to come to that. He's going to sign before then.
Won a Gold Glove last year. Finished second in the MVP balloting to Mike Schmidt of the Phillies. 3-0 is the light on. It is 3-1. Tim Raines led over the single to center, stole second, and went to third on a pass ball on ball 4 to Scott, and Scott went to second. 3 balls and a strike. The veteran Vida Blue. After his third one of the year, he has dropped 2. Will a run score? They're going to give up the run, go to first. Raines is across the plate, and it's 1-0 Montreal. You know, Darrell Evans, on any other runner, would have had a shot at the plate, but not on Raines. And he wisely took the sure out. Scott moving on to third.
Merle, you hit it right on the head. He never thought about him. He said, that's Tim Raines running, the fastest man in the world today, as far as I'm concerned, and I am not going to throw home. I'm going to get the safe out. That's why Darrell's a captain out there, and the head of the infield, he runs it with an iron hand, and a good, smart play. Get the out when you can.
Warren Cromartie now against Vida Blues. The Expos lead 1-0. That screwball takes off, comes inside of the left-handed batter. Cromartie hitting a .276 for the year. Last season batted .288, 14 homers, 70 runs batted in. 1-1. Every year Warren Cromartie goes to spring training. He has to look for a job. The last 3 years has been just that. Last year it was LaFleur who took his left field job. 1-2. This year they figured that Willie Montañez might play at first, and they might have to put Cromartie back in left field if Raines couldn't make the club.
Yeah, but I tell you, that's all in the papers. That is not what Warren thinks about when he came to camp. He said, I knew I was going to play someplace, and when you talked to Dick Williams, said Cromartie is going to be in the lineup, whether it be first base, left field, left out, or something. He's going to be in there. And the papers kept saying, oh, he's got to fight for a job. The man's a lifetime .280 hitter. He never misses. Set a record 169 games in a row for Montreal. He just does everything right. A good, basic, sound first baseman and left fielder.
2-2 pitch, bouncer to first, and we played unassisted. And so Cabell registers on number 3, and it's a run and a hit, a stolen base, and a pass ball, and at the end of 1 inning, it's Montreal 1 and the Giants nothing.
Richie Zisk with a 2-bagger down the line. 2 Mariners score on the play. 2-0 Seattle. They would get
Giants nothing. And to open the second inning, Jerry Martin will lead off, and he is in the lineup for the Giants today because the computer says he should be in the lineup today.
Yes, according to the computer, in 1980, which is the only time you ever face him, he was up 10 times. He had 2 hits and 2 strikeouts. I think that's what it reads.
That's
2
Martin.
strikeouts. That's Martin against Steve Rogers.
Yeah, but Larry Herndon, who would normally be in the lineup, was only 1 for 15 and 4 strikeouts last year against Rogers. So the computer says that Martin should play, and Martin's in there.
Yeah, and I say the computer ought to go back to where it started from because Larry is hot. And I'll tell you one thing, there's nothing better than a hot ball player. The guy's hitting, what, 370 something? Oh, that's unreal.
Jerry Martin, Joe Morgan, Milt May coming up here in the second. Strike at the knees. Doyle Alexander is warming up in the bullpen for San Francisco, but was just doing a little throwing and now is on his way back. We thought for a moment that possibly something was wrong, but not so. He's just getting his throwing in. Foul at a play, up to the right, back into the stands.
Well, Vida does have a little trouble, you know.
Well, yeah,
I'm going to let you handle this.
Well, it was a question of whether he would pitch last night or today or neither day, but Vida said last night that he could go today, and of course, he's more worried about his hitting than anything else.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter.
1-2 pitch. Spire across to first. Hey, bad throw, but Cromartie handles it. 1 out. Cromartie does very well around that first base
Yes,
bag.
he does. That was nice. Very nice movement by him. Spire the ball tailed a little bit on him, ran back on him, and you saw right there, Cromartie came across the bag in front of him. That's hard to do because the runner's coming down on you. Made a nice play. So he fought for another job and won.
37-year-old Joe Morgan is next. Joe's had a pulled muscle in the rib cage area. It's been giving him a little trouble, but he says he's feeling pretty good now. Goes after the first pitch, pops it down the left field line. Long run for the left fielder, Raines. Look out, Timmy, right up into the stands. That's the last thing they want Tim Raines doing, crashing into walls. So it's no balls and a strike to Joe Morgan. Joe joined the Giants as a free agent.
And there he goes, Tim after it. You know, he does not. Oh, that's Spire. That's Chris running there. Look at Tim. Oh, I should have known. Tim just ran by Spire like he's standing still. Oh, hey, we need somebody for the Olympics in high jumping, and it looks like right there he could clear 7 foot with ease. And he's only 21. Wait till he gets to be 25.
He will be turning everybody upside down by then. Joe Morgan started with Houston, went to Cincinnati, back to Houston, now with the Giants.
There's Rogers hanging that curveball.
Steve is a very slow worker, which you have already discovered. Very deliberate, thinks through every pitch. 2 balls, a strike. Pops another one up, and this one's playable. Spire and Raines is calling him off, and Timmy handles it for the out. So Joe Morgan flies to left field. Raines probably could play out there by himself. Put him in center field, let him cover everything.
Well, him and Dawson, you really don't need a third fielder. And Andre has really helped him. He's took him under his wing, and he's told him all the great things to do and all the things you shouldn't do in the outfield. And a Gold Glove champion like Andre Dawson is, he can really help Tim, and he has. And what Andre says about Tim, the nicest thing, he says he's not only listens, but he'll try what you say. And usually the young kids coming up, and especially the phenoms, they'll listen with one ear and let it go out the other. But Tim tries it.
The veteran Milt May, the catcher, 10 years in the majors. Hit .260 a year ago for the Giants. Coming through the re-entry draft. Outside by Rogers, 2 balls and no strikes. The Expos won, the Giants nothing. The Giants are batting in the second here in Montreal. May's done some traveling in his career. Pittsburgh, Houston, Detroit, White Sox, and Giants.
He's a National Leaguer, though. National Leaguer. He likes the National League a lot better than the American League. He's hit better in the National League. It's a fastball league compared to a breaking pitch league in the American League. And he's a fastball hitter, dead pull hitter. And he likes it over here better.
3-0 pitch. 3-1. You know, one of the things, the Giants, they got a bonus out of May in that I think that they were somewhat surprised to find that Milt was a better handler of pitchers than they thought. And he has been given a lot of credit for the development of some of these kids. Going for the base hit. Rodney Scott taking it away. 3 up and 3 down. And you talked about defense prior to the ball game, Ron Luciano. And Scott just showed why.
Look at this, the carpet. He's playing so far back, he's behind the line there. and he has to trap it against the floor, and he does. Picks it up, throws him out. We'll be back.
Blue shirt looks more like the ball boy than the owner of the Houston Royals.
Tim Wallace leading off, bangs a base hit to left field. So Wallace, a rookie who was really ticketed for Denver this year, is in the lineup today because Larry Parrish is in quite a slump, and so he was moved to third base. He's going to take advantage of the opportunity, I guess. Hit number 2. Tim Wallach. Jerry White is next. He's in the lineup because Ellis Valentine pulled a hamstring last night. Jerry White considered to be the 4th best outfielder in the major leagues, and that's kind of the tag that he has had here in Montreal. Vida Blue behind 1-0. Runner going. Evans, no chance at second. The play has gone there. Back to first base, and White is out. And Wallach winds up at second base.
That's the way to break up the double play. Hit and run. Wallach was off with a pitch.
Wallach is a pretty good power hitter. They expect him to be something else for the Expos, but Dick Williams told him at the end of spring training, he said, we're probably going to send you to Denver where you can play every day because you need to be playing every day, whether it's here or in Denver.
And Wallach went along with it. He said, okay, fine. I want to go where I'm going to play. If you're going to sit me on the bench, then send me down, which was pretty smart for a young man, only 2 years in pro ball.
Chris Spire, the ex-Giant, several years here with the Expos. Ball 1. Spire has played every inning at short this year. The runner at second, Tim Wallach.
Had trouble with his back last year, Chris did, and I talked to him before the game, and he said, it's a new lease on life. I have no pain at all. He said there was pain when I drank water. There was pain when I tied my shoestring. Everything that I did had a little pain involved. And this year, he said, I'm a new man. I have a smile on my face. My wife is happy, too. I don't scream and yell at her anymore. And the Expos are happy to have him back, too.
Blue is down low with that pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Wallach single to left to lead off the inning. He's now at second base. Expos 1, Giants nothing. The Expos scoring in the first inning when Rain single to center, stole second. Moved to third on a pass ball, scored on a ground out by Carter. Fouled it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cincinnati leading Houston 3-1. The Reds getting all runs in the first inning. They're in the second. The Mets are leading the Dodgers 2-1 in the bottom of the second. Davey Lopes has hit his first home run of the year for Los Angeles as Dick Williams studies that lineup card. And Frank Robinson uses a computer and numbers, and so Dick Williams doesn't use a computer, but believe me, he uses the numbers. High and away. Ball 3, strike 2. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Channel 23, KNDO, Yakima.
Merle Herman and Ron Luciano with you in Montreal, where the Expos lead the Giants 1-0 in the bottom of the second. Vida Blue working, and Spire could not check in time. Might have been in there anyway. Spire made a break like you thought, well, ball 4 and I'll go on to first.
Yeah, he knew he went. You know he goes on this, and right there he said, oh, I went too far, but just maybe he won't catch me, did he? Yeah, he caught me, darn it.
So Jerry Dale punches him out, and Vida Blue has racked up 2 strikeouts and will take on his opposing moundsman, Steve Rogers. Chicago plays at Atlanta tonight, San Diego at Philadelphia under the lights, and Pittsburgh at St. Louis to complete the National League slate for today. High heat, but too high from Vida Blue.
He's a great hitter, isn't he? 071 this year. I think if I ran across the plate, he'd have a little trouble making connection.
No, he wouldn't.
Hey.
A high popper to right, and back goes Jack Clark. That'll wrap it up in the second inning. So it's 1 hit and a runner left aboard. We've played 2 innings in Montreal, and the Expos lead by a score of 1-0 over the Giants, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
We'll pick it up with the score 1-0 Montreal after a home run by Tim Wallach. Roland Office leads off the bottom.
To go into the Hall of Fame, manager Frank Robinson of the San Francisco Giants. 21 years in the major leagues, 4th on the all-time home run list, 586 he smacked out of the park. As Johnny LeMaster grounds to third. Wallach, high throw, but Cromartie comes down with it. 1 out. Come on. Warren, that footwork wasn't quite that good. I don't
hey,
he'll never make Broadway.
Let me tell you, Tim Wallach's going to, Larry Parrish's going to be bad play unless Tim makes a little better throw than this. He had plenty of time. He wound up with just too much arm. Look at the ball sail. It just keep going. Hey, what do you mean? That's beautiful. Swan Lake could do as well.
By the Blues. 1 ball to no strikes. Everybody in San Francisco knows the answer to this one. I've already tipped it off, haven't I?
What's that?
Last MVP of the American League to be a switch hitter.
I know. Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle.
1 ball and 1 strike.
But why would people in San Francisco know that?
Well, everybody knows it's Vida Blue. We tried to pull that on Vida today, and he almost hit us with a bat. Switch hitter, Vida Blue, MVP with the Oakland A's. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-0, Montreal. The Giants are batting in the top of the 3rd. Vida Blue and Bill Russell attended Mount Clemens High School in Oakland. Ball 2 and strike 2. Who else did?
Okay, I got another one for you.
Frank Robinson. He did.
The last relief pitcher to lead his team in home runs.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Vida Blue.
You're not even going to play with it, huh?
And it's 3-2.
He did it for the Giants.
Freddie Fitzsimmons.
No.
Steve Rogers.
No.
1-0 lead. Top of the 3rd. Vida jumps on that one, sends it a mile high into right center, and Jerry White is back there. 2 down. So White getting a chance to play today, and boy, you talk about speed in the outfield with White in right, Dawson in center, and Raines in left. Vida hit that ball pretty good, though. All right,
Vida does hit well. He's
who's the
a good
relief
hitter.
pitcher to do it?
Well, let's just muse for a while. Think about it. Just think about it for a while.
All right. Billy North is next. He walked and was shot down trying to steal in the 1st inning. I'll think about it until next week. 1-0 Expos. Giants at bat in the 3rd. First ball hitting Billy North, fouls it away for strike 1.
Billy got cute in the 1st inning and tried to pull a Tim Raines and steal 2nd. Rogers did a great job of holding him on, and then Carter gunned him out.
Billy had an idea to bunt. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know who the reliever was? It was a trick question. Remember Dave Kingman used to relieve at one time? Okay, that's a little bit of trivia. All right, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry.
1-2 to Billy North. What do you think about that one, fans? Shall we put him in the back room for a while?
I'm not the best trivia man in the world.
Steve Rogers with a 1-0 lead, working in the 3rd. Rogers going for his 4th win of the year.
Rogers at 31, he's slowed down. He never was fast, but he is really slowed down.
Bouncer to short, and Spire had to wait for the 2nd hop, but he still made the play. Spire started to play the 1st hop, and then saw that he couldn't make the play and had to wait for the 2nd one. 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the 3rd. Expos 1, Giants nothing.
3-2 in the 8th. Brian Downing at the plate. And look at this. Downing takes care of everything.
Great glove, and they need that glove in the outfield to glue that infield in.
Here is the man. Tim Raines leading off in the 3rd. In the 1st inning, he singled to center, stole 2nd. moved to third on a pass ball and scored on a ground out by Gary Carter, and that's the run in the game. 1-0. Vida Blue missing low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. You know, when the Expos made very little effort to sign Ron LaFleur after LaFleur played a year here a year ago. How about that for a double-double? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Anyway, LaFleur elected to go free agent, and the Expos said fine, because they have Timmy Raines, and Timmy, with his tremendous speed, learned to switch hit. He can do everything. He can play in the infield, he can play in the outfield. So they said, okay, we'll go with Timmy Raines. He dumps one to right, but Clark is over there for out number 1. That's the best way to get rid of any worry from Raines. Just don't let him get aboard. But Dick Williams had a great comment, I thought, about Tim Raines. He said he's better than LaFleur. He feels better, throws better, hits better, runs the bases better, and gets to the ballpark on time.
LaFleur was notorious for coming late. He was never on time. Home team bats first, and he was never there for home team batting.
Dick Williams loves this guy, Rodney Scott.
I'll tell you who loves him is Tim Raines. You know, you talk about when Lou Brock stole all those bases. There's a ground ball to Morgan. Boy, he's got good hands still. Good reflexes. You talk about when Brock stole all those bases, the man who followed him, all you heard about was how he loved to follow Brock because he got nothing but fastballs and it was easier to hit. And you don't hear Tim Raines, and you didn't hear LaFleur last year, or you don't hear Rodney Scott this year saying how he gets fastballs. What you hear is Scott does everything in his power to disrupt the catcher so that the base can be stolen. And that's why Scott's hitting, he hit 224 last year. He gave up a lot of strikes and a lot of ABs so that LaFleur could steal last year, and he's doing the same thing this year with Tim. That's good team effort. And again, the man responsible is Williams.
Andre Dawson, 1-0. Deep in the hole, no play on that one. Even had LeMaster fielded the ball, I don't think he would have had a chance to get Dawson, who has tremendous speed.
Dawson is quick, but Darrell Evans just out of his reach, and LeMaster, it did drop out of his glove. You're right, Merle. No chance at first, even if he did hold on to it. Remember, Dawson stole 34 last year, and this team likes to run. He's on his own. There are 3 men that are on their own in the club. And right there it is again. If you watch Vida's head, you'll know. Vida looked at home and therefore threw to first. Now watch his head. He hasn't changed.
2 down, runner at first. Hey,
he did it. He picked us both off.
And Joe Morgan on the rundown, and that'll be the end of the line for Andre Dawson.
Dirty old man, Vida, you picked us both off. You're not supposed to do that. You got smart after all these years. He fooled the both of us. And we'll be right back with a score 1-0.
5-4. Early going here. Look at this. Tommy John appears to have Dwayne Murphy picked off third, but they tag him out on
Giants' part, and good heads-up play by Vida. I didn't think he was that smart to pick it up. Maybe he's listening to our broadcast.
Wait till one of his friends tells you that, though.
Oh.
Enos Cabell struck out of the first inning, struck 1. Now, I know you and Vida you guys got along pretty well when you were umpiring, didn't you?
Yeah, very well. Vida's never argued with umpires. He said, I've got enough trouble trying to get the ball over the plate. I don't need an aggravation of arguing with umpires.
Steve Rogers, a 1-ball, 1 strikeout. Rogers has retired 7 in a row. The last man to reach was Jack Clark, who singled in the first inning.
And according to the computer printout, Clark should be the only man that should be best man for the job, hitting .500 against him.
High and inside. Rogers, you're seeing typical Steve Rogers. Anytime he misses the plate or doesn't get the strike, he walks back, shakes heads. My goodness, my goodness. He's a worrywart.
I think it's a little psychological, too. I think he gets that batter a little anxious so that he'll swing at a bad pitch.
Fly ball foul to the right side. Back into the stands. Cincinnati is leading Houston 5-1 in the third inning. And the Mets have a 4-1 lead over the Dodgers in the bottom of the third. Dave Goltz came on in relief in the second for Los Angeles. You know, there's some Houston Astros fans who feel that the Astros sending Cabell away and Joe Morgan and the Giants landed both of them, and this is what has taken a little bit of the life out of the Astros this year. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Although the Astros have recovered pretty well. They've won 7 of the last 10.
Yeah, that could be. He was well thought of on the infield there, and of course, no one can hit in a wide open space as a Houston. You can't come out with a good batting average or be a power hitter in that ballpark. It's just too big. Enos is glad to get out of there. Look at him, 6'5". Says he weighs 180 pounds. I don't believe it.
Up the middle and into center, and Cabell is on.
6'5". The club looks up to him, right? I'm not going to pull that over.
That is hit number 2 off Rogers.
And the pitch is up where it shouldn't be, around the waist. And Enos just gets the fat of the bat on it and punches it right through the middle, right up the middle.
Next Saturday on NBC's Major League Baseball Game of the Week, it's the top-notch pitching staff of the Astros against the Reds, led by the National League's batting leader, Dave Collins, who's having another outstanding season for Cincinnati. Here's Jack Clark now. Fouls it away for strike 1. And some of you will be seeing George Brett, who flirted with a 400 batting average last year, didn't quite make it. He'll lead the defending American League champion Kansas City Royals to Fenway Park against the Red Sox. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's next Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, right here on NBC Sports. Cabell, the base runner, and low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And Vida Blue has the same affliction that George had last year in the World Series. And that's why he's missed the last turn and is having a rough time and standing up in the dugout rather than sitting down.
Cabell, who singled, is the runner. Nobody out. High and away. I really get a kick out of Steve Rogers. It's like the world is coming to an end.
Oh, no, I did it. I threw a ball. I can't throw that again.
Waiting to bat next, Darrell Evans. The left of your screen, number 41. Fouled it away, 2-2.
You're talking about Jack Clark. Jack is really matured. He had a little girl in 1979, and everybody around him said that after that, the man has changed completely. He has less strikeouts. He has more walks. He's a nicer person to talk to. He's not as wild. The birth of that child has matured that man so much, and he's a better baseball player because of it.
Fouls another one off back into the stands. It'll still be 2-2 to Clark. Nice crowd today in Montreal. Better than 40,000 here at Olympic Stadium. Nice, pleasant afternoon. Lots of folks in shirt sleeves. Clark had 18 game-winning RBIs last year for the Giants. It gives you an idea of his importance to this ball club. Runner going. Nice pickup at third by Wallach. So Clark is out at first. Cabell, now the tying run has moved up to second.
And Robinson trying to get something going with a hit and run. Steve does that. Steve puts you into a lethargic type of game. He just goes along, and he's mad at himself because he threw a ball, and it seems to put the batters to sleep and the rest of the club. So Robinson's, I guess it read out in the computer that he should try at least 2 RBI or 2 hit and runs a game. We've seen one. We're going to see one more.
Darrell Evans with an 8-game hitting streak, grounded out in the first inning, has a chance to tie the game. Fouls it away on the third base side, strike 1. Darrell Evans, 33 years old. He'll be 34 on May 26th. 20 homers last year with the Giants. He spent 5.5 years with Atlanta, the last 4.5 with San Francisco. Rather durable. He's missed, what, 13, 14 games the last 3 years.
Good, solid ball player, the captain of the club. But, you know, he's really like a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like you said, 20 home runs last year. And he'll give you 75 to 80 RBIs. He'll steal about 10 bases for you. He'll commit about 25 errors. So he's not really the best glove man in the world, not the best power hitter in the world, not the best infield in the world, but he does everything well enough so that you have to have 2 or 3 or 4 ball players like him on the club in order to win pennants.
A ball and a strike. 1-0 Expos. Giants batting in the fourth. High heat. Ball 2, strike 1.
And then you need the superstar as well, like a Jack Clark who can come through and get you 110, 120 RBIs, or Tim Raines who can steal 110, 120 bases.
You know what? I think Raines is going to steal better than 150 this year.
Ooh.
I really do.
Ooh.
2 balls, a strike to Evans. Low it inside.
Okay.
One of the things the Giants have to do, and Frank Robinson will get this done eventually. Frank obviously wants to take a look at all of his personnel in different situations. But Evans, for instance, when the season started, when they came out of spring training, they thought he'd probably be at first base or left field, but Mike Ivey kind of changed all that around. They had to move Mike, and they did move him to Houston. Evans pops it high to short left. Spire is back. Raines takes over. 2 down. So Frank Robinson decided after moving Ivey on to Houston, he figured that Mike just doesn't fit with this ball club, and Mike has had that problem since he's been in baseball. But Robbie decided then that Cabell would be the first baseman, that Evans would be the third baseman, and they'd go on from there.
And Cabell hasn't really worked out at first as well as he thought he would, because he's had 5 errors so far. And, that's a lot of errors just to start off with. It's tough to play one side of the infield and go to the other, especially on AstroTurf. And there's so many AstroTurfs in the National League.
Breaking ball, a strike to Jerry Martin, who will be 32 years old on Monday. Happy birthday to Jerry in advance.
Jerry's not happy, though. He hadn't been happy. Jerry thinks that he should play every day. And he says, listen, trade me. When he came from Chicago, he left Chicago because he wasn't playing every day. And now he's at San Francisco, and he's not playing every day, and he's already saying, trade me. I want to play every day. I don't care if you put me in Denver. I don't care if you put me in Ashtabula, Tennessee, but I want to play baseball every single day as we're looking at Cabell at second.
It's 1-0 Expos. We're in the fourth. Martin hit 23 homers with Chicago a year ago. I think his biggest dissatisfaction with Chicago, though, he just didn't think the Cubs were going anywhere.
Well, you can't go anywhere unless you go somewhere, too. You've got to be, if you're going to be that well and lead a club and think you should play every day, you better do the job and help that club go someplace.
Cabell at second. He opened the inning with a single to center and then moved up on a ground out by Clark. Evans is flied to left, and Steve Rogers trying to get out of the inning with Jerry Martin at the plate. Jerry took the Giants to arbitration, and they were almost walking right into the room at the arbitrator's office, walking down the hallway. Would you believe they settled the issue right there?
Yeah.
Both Martin and the Giants were happy that they didn't go through the door. 1-2. And it's 2-2.
He's a free swinger. He loves to swing at that ball. Loves to strike out, too. Get you 100 strikeouts a year.
Come on.
No,
he loves to strike out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he strikes out a lot.
Boy, he doesn't love to strike out.
If he keeps doing it, you must like to.
I don't believe it. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 down, 1 on. Rogers with a 1-0 lead has given up 2 hits. Well, let's see. They're going to go inside. Got a runner at second, whatever the switch is. They go away. Breaking ball, and Spire is there to field it. And the Giants' threat is over. So a base hit and a runner left on. And that is it for 3.5 innings. It's the Expos 1 and the Giants nothing. Coming up, Carter, Cromartie, and Wallach for the Montreal Expos.
That's 5-0. No score, bottom of the second. Joe LaFay will steal second, and Alex Trevino throws.
The Expos 1 and the Giants nothing as the Expos come to bat at the bottom of the 4th inning here at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Nice crowd today. It's a beautiful place. Olympic Stadium. Beautiful smile. Nice young people at the ballpark. And Vida Blue works to Gary Carter, who drove in the only run of the game when he grounded out back in the first inning. The Expos catcher. Strike one to the inside corner. Blue gave up a leadoff single to Raines in the first. He stole second, moved to third on a pass ball as Scott walked, and scored when Carter grounded out. That's been it. Vida's pitch well. Off speed. He missed low and outside. A ball and a strike.
Good pitch for Vida right there. And he does that to Carter because Carter's having a little trouble with the bat he has lately. I talked to him before, and he says, I'm getting anxious. And what I'm doing, he said, when you get anxious, you swing at bad pitches like he did right there. Pitch was outside. I don't think he's got a chance he does it. The ball comes away. He says, I swing at bad pitches, and then I lunge a little bit. And he said, watch me today and send me the tapes, because he's going to check the tapes afterwards to see if he lunged. He didn't lunge at that pitch, but he did swing it. It was a little away, and he should have stayed off in it.
When you were umpiring, did the guys ever step away from the plate and ask you something about a swing?
Lots of times.
Did they?
Lots of times. And always the 300 hitters. Never the 210 hitters.
High and away, 2-2.
Yastrzemski used to do it all the time. He'd stand back and he'd say, am I swinging at the high pitch? Oh, who is that?
Do you believe that? Lindsey Nelson, the voice of the San Francisco Giants, in one of his quieter Blazers. Right back to the mound, the old comebacker. The bat went one way, the ball went the other, and Carter wound up with the handle. So Vida Blue literally sawed the bat off in his hand.
Right here, he better catch this or he might get hurt. He lunged at a low pitch again. Vida's a pretty good body control to get after that ball. I'm still mad at Vida for picking me off at first. Changing his delivery all those years I've known him, and picked Dawson and myself out.
Warren Cromartie grounded out of the first. We're talking about Cromartie having to look for a job every year. Last year, Rusty Staub, who came back to Montreal, was supposed to win the job and didn't. Of course, Staub had always been a tremendous fan attraction here in the early years of the Expos when they were a losing ball club, but the Expos have a new reason to be drawing fans now. They win. Knocked out of the pennant race, the divisional race, the last weekend of the last two seasons. 1-1 to Cromartie. Strike two. Little boy something, isn't he?
Oh, Warren's little boy? Oh. And I tell you, he's a heck of an athlete. I was playing catch with him before the game. He's burning them in there. What is he?
2 and 2.
Is he 5 or 6?
6 years old, I think.
6. My hands still sting.
That meat hook. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nice stop at third by Darrell Evans. Takes his time to gun him down. 2 gone. The ball coming off the artificial turf. But Evans has played on artificial turf in Candlestick, although it's gone now, so no problem. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. In any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Tim Wallach, who singled in the second, playing third base today. Last year at Denver, hit 36 homers and knocked in 124 runs. More power coming to the Expos. 0-2 the count. Last year, he joined Montreal for 5 games. He went 1 for 2, and one of the hits, well, the hit was a home run. End of the third. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
May's having a tough time catching Vida every time he's a little bit off. But Vida's got that good fastball, and if he throws it high, it'll rise. If he throws it down in the strike zone, it has a tendency to not sink, but drop a little. And it'll slide on you, not actually move down and away, but if it's right down the middle, it'll go a little to the left or a little to the right. That one was the same thing. Down the middle, a little bit to the right, got in on the hands. Nice, easy pop fly to north and center field. Vida's just breezing by.
So 3 up and 3 down. And coming up in the 5th, it'll be Morgan to lead off, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
For the left side, here we go against Fernando Arroyo. And we're going to get a hanging curveball from the right-hander, so the old...
Olympic medalists and world record holders compete in the AIAW National Women's Collegiate Swimming Championships. That's all tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on NBC Sports World. Joe Morgan leading off, takes a strike from Steve Rogers, who has a 1-0 lead over his mound rival, Vida Blue, in a pitcher's duel here in Montreal. Morgan flied to left in the second. Low and inside. Prior to the game, Joe Morgan and Timmy Raines were having a little discussion about, no doubt, Timmy's future in baseball, and Joe giving him a few tips.
Yeah, I also said I'm going to spike you when you come down to second if you come in too high.
One of the tips he told Tim, don't take too big of a lead off first. I mean, you always stay closer to the bag.
Boy, Joe, he looks good, doesn't he? Looks in good shape.
Pops it up, first base side. Cromartie makes the call. And Joe is out of there. 1 away. Milt May to be next. Steve Rogers.
If you watch Rogers now, he'll fall to his left. One of the faults that Rogers has had all through his career is that he can't get a ball. Remember the ball that Vida went down to his knees off to the right to get? Now see, Rogers could never catch that ball. And I never understood why they haven't bunted more on Rogers, especially towards the third base. You got Wallach in there, who's a young kid. And in a game like this where he could keep things going. Now, Milt May can't do it because he runs about as fast as I do, like a locomotive down to first. He couldn't make it. But, North, he tried 1 bunt against it. But Rogers always has, and they work with him. Galen Cisco, the the pitching coach, has worked with him. He said, you can't fall off to the mound. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble. And I guess the computer, Robinson's computer, hasn't come up with that yet, to let the guys bunt against Rogers so that they'll get men on base as he falls off to the left too much.
The ball and a strike. Now, of course, the artificial surface has got to play a role also.
Only man I've ever seen that could bunt the ball on artificial surface and make it do what he wants, even stop, is Rod Carew. He actually bunts the ball on artificial surface and makes it stop. There's Mr. Computer. I don't know if I like using a computer to manage a club. It's got to be an aid. It's a help. And I know it's not the overall thing to do. But I got to believe that you got to think in your heart, gee, this is the guy that's going to do it today. I don't care what the computer says.
Bouncer to first. Cromartie takes the play, and there are 2 down. But Frank Robinson said before the game, though, Ronnie, in fact, I specifically asked him, do you always follow the computer? I mean, what about the gut instinct about a certain guy? He said, oh, no. He says, exactly what you said. The computer is an aid, and if it's overwhelming in favor of using a guy or putting a guy down for a couple of days, but he said, no. He said, you've got to have the feel from time to time that somebody, maybe a Johnny LeMaster here, for instance, is going to, for one reason or another, get off to a great start today and have a good day.
That's what he said, but that's not what he did.
No, but he had a reason. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about putting Herndon down today.
Exactly.
All right,
yes.
I'll give you the explanation for that in a minute.
Okay.
Meanwhile, LeMaster 0-1, and it's 0-2. First of all, if you joined us late, Frank Robinson has a complete computer printout on every player, on every hitter, the kind of pitch he hit, where he hit it, the situation at the time, and so forth. And then the thing we're talking about, if you joined us late, Herndon, who is the hottest hitter on the Giant club, is not playing today, but Herndon is 1 for 15 against Rogers and 4 strikeouts a year ago. But there's another reason that he's not in there today. Drive down the left field line. It is a fair ball, and LeMaster goes into second. Now, maybe the computer said LeMaster is going to double. That's being a little facetious, but no, the point being about Herndon and why he is not in there today, as we look one more time, but...
Whoa, good play. Almost got hit. The umpire almost got hit there at third. Bob Engel got out of the way very nicely as the ball went fair. But you were saying, Merle.
Yeah, about Herndon. He said there was another reason for Herndon. He said, just in case Larry is thinking, I have trouble hitting this guy, he said, I want to keep his batting average up because Herndon is off to the best start in his career. And he said, I want to give him a day off from time to time, and this is the time to do it, when we're out against a pitcher that he does not hit well. But he said he'll be back in the lineup, and he said once over a period of time Herndon plays more games against all pitching, he says, and his confidence stays up, then he's going to play against everybody. That's the theory.
Well, I can see the theory, but I don't go along with the reasoning. I don't think it's sound. I really think since he is hitting 354, and for 5 years they've said that Herndon Larry has nothing but potential. The guy is going to be fantastic. He's going to be great. Nothing is going to hold this guy down. And for 5 years he did nothing. Now this is his year. Now he's going to show all the potential. He's going to do everything. He's going to hit 300. He's going to hit the 20-some-odd home runs. He's going to steal bases. He's going to play a good left field for you. And now you got it sitting down because the computer says he can only hit 1 out of 15. I don't know. Yeah, I could see your reasoning. He's saving him.
Not my reasoning.
Well, no, not yours.
But Frank had an explanation for it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Vida Blue with a chance to tie up the ball game for himself. He's behind 1-0. Lemaster at second. And it's ball 3. And Steve Rogers, the last thing in the world he wants to do is lose the pitcher. Although Vida's a pretty good hitter.
Steve will talk himself out of it. He's shaking his head. Vida is a good hitter.
But Frank, again, going back to what he said earlier, the one thing that I thought about in the interim from managing Cleveland to the Giants, be more patient, particularly with the young players. 3 balls a strike.
And the umpires.
3-2.
When I was umpiring and he was managing, he had a standard rule that if his ball players talked to me on the field, it was a fine. And they had ball players that would run by me and say, I can't talk to me, Ronnie. The fine's on.
What'd you say? I didn't hear that.
I can't talk to you. The fine's on. And also, he would not talk to me. And really, that was a whoop inside ball 4. And really, that was very nice because a quiet manager, a silent manager is an umpire. Rogers.
Just watching his facial expression, probably anybody but Steve Rogers, as we study him, you'd think that this guy is going to knock himself right out of the game because he's all upset. He's like this all the time. This is his natural personality in a ball game.
That's why we said it earlier. He might be doing it to psych out the players. But it might work in reverse and psych out his team, too, because he is so slow.
Billy North walked in the first, grounded out in the third. 2 men aboard, 2 down. Strike 1 to the knees. At first base, Blue. At second base, Lemaster. The Giants trail by 1, batting in the top of the 5th. Breaking ball inside again. He's having trouble with the breaking stuff. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Expos scored in the first inning. Tim Raines, the super stealer. Mr. Excitement. Single, stole second, and scored on a ground out. Base runners, Lemaster and Blue for the Giants. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Billy North. Two down. Steve Rogers trying to close it out. And North will let him cool his heels a little bit.
And that's the little psychology by North in there. He said, Rogers, you made me wait all this time. I'm going to make you wait a little bit. North has been around long enough. He's not going to let him upset him. Let's see if he's got him in the hole, 2 strikes, what he does.
Missed inside again with the breaking stuff. So the deuces run wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 down. Billy North with a walk, attempting to steal, thrown out by Gary Carter back in the first inning, then grounded out in the third.
Now Rogers does not want to throw a ball here because he doesn't want to get 3 and 2 and have the runners running with 3 and 2 and 2 outs. So he's got to get him on this pitch.
Ball 3, full count. Merle Harmon and Ron Luciano in Montreal, where the Montreal Expos are leading the Giants 1-0, getting the run in the first inning for Steve Rogers, who is in a bit of trouble here right now in the Giant half of the 5th. With John Lemaster, who doubled with 2 down on at second. Vida Blue, the pitcher who walked, is on at first. Billy North has a 3 ball, 2 strike count. And let's see what he can do. Runners going, base hit down the line will tie the game. LeMaster will score. Timmy Raines running the ball down. Vida Blue being waved home, and he is going to make it, and it's 2-1 San Francisco. So Vida Blue scores from first base on a double into the left field corner by Billy North, and Steve Rogers has lost the 1-0 lead. It's now 2-1 San Francisco.
And here it is, and it was the pitch before that cost him the 2 runs, because he shouldn't have gone 3-2. It was right down the line, and you can see it. It went by the third baseman there, Tim Wallach, and it ended up a double. But the pitch before that was the important pitch. He should have never gone to 3-2.
So the Giants grabbed the lead after being shut out over the first 4 innings.